Hello. Hi, everybody. How are you? I'll adjust it there so you can't see my bathroom. Hi. Look at all the people that we already have on here. I'm so excited to be with you. And why don't you just start by introducing yourself? Is this your first day here at the workshop? Have you been coming? Where are you from? And what are you bringing here today? Do you have a specific question or challenge that you're having? Want me to speak to? And hi, Jen. Can you hear me? Jen, that was Jen, everybody. So she is working the chat. There you are. You want to
Hi.
say hi to everybody?
Hi, I'll say hi with my face.
Oh, wait, you want to walk? You want
There.
to wave? You are.
Hi. Hi, everyone.
Yeah,
Little cuckoo here. We've been busy, busy, busy,
I know.
busy.
You're like behind the like Oz, the
I know, that's what I keep saying. I'm like Oz, the
behind the
all
curtain,
powerful.
working it all. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. So,
Yes,
uh,
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
the
Oh,
wonderful Jen. It's a lot. We've
it
just
is.
so excited preparing for all of you. And I see you all commenting, thank you. And it's just funny, that last push to get everything ready for you, because today is a super exciting day.
Yes, it
So,
is.
yeah.
Okay, I'm out of here.
Okay. All right. Thanks for saying hi. Okay. Hi, Kelly. I love it. Your day 3. Oh my gosh. What a commitment you have made to yourself to be here all 3 days and carve out this time. I just love it. Christine, hi, Christine. Won't be able to comment for a while, but I'm so thankful, looking forward to today. I'm so glad. And son 14, daughter 28, and son 32. And Christine and I have talked a little bit. We're a little bit similar in that I have older kids also, and then I have a gap between my first and second, and then my third. So, not really a gap between my first and second, but both of them with my younger one. Does that make sense? Hi, Sharon. Good to see you, Illinois. I am from Illinois also, but I just moved, lived there all my life. I love Midwesterners. Kim, day 3, yay. Donna, hi. Glad to make today's live. I have one of each, 15 and 13 from BC. Love that. We get a lot of Canadians that come, and I just love it. And then Tara, hi, from Seattle, day 3, yay! Lori's back and Sarah's back. I love it. Those are our inner circle mamas, and Amy and Melody, awesome. Um, yeah, and Gift. Ooh, I like that name, from Warsaw, Poland. 2 sons, 17 and 8 years. And what is so cool is that you often don't know, like I was looking back in the chat yesterday, and we had moms from South Africa. We have moms from Australia. We have moms from Finland. We have moms from New Zealand. We have moms from Germany and England. And, it's so cool when we can all come together. And I'm always struck by, no matter where we live, so many of our challenges are similar, even though our cultures can be very different, with even values can be different based on our culture, but that our kids are all the same as far as the challenges. Because why? Because they're going through all of those changes. And that doesn't matter where you live, because the adolescent brain is the adolescent brain, and all those changes and the independence and the pulling away and trying to navigate all of those big emotions, we're all in it together. So hi, Susan and Kim, and just all of you that are coming back or coming here for the first time or watching the replay. And so we have some really exciting things planned for you, and I cannot wait. And we're also going to do the giveaway again today, and I'm giving away $20 gift cards 5 of them, and I'm going to make it simple, and I'm going to have it be around pumpkin. Again, don't say it now because we're going to do it at the end. So at the end, towards the end, I will say the word, and the first 5 to type it in the chat will win a $20 Amazon gift card. Now, just know if you've been a winner and you haven't gotten it, Jen was talking to me about that this morning, and she's working on making sure that you get those gift cards. So just know they will be coming to you. And if you won, make sure that you email Jen at momsoftweensandteens.com. So what are you bringing here today? What you bringing here today? Is there one thing that has really stood out to you that you have taken away from the last 2 days, that you're here again and you're like, wow, this is something that I really want to focus on and work on as a mom, a caregiver? This is something I really want to take in and make those changes. So does anybody want to share? And when you share in the chat, make sure that you click everyone, okay? So everybody can see it. Because for those that are new here, we are a big believer in creating community. And when I was reading back through the chat, I loved how many of you were saying, you know what, I'm going through that too. And I'm with you in this. And oh, that is so hard. And I hope that you have found that encouraging, reading what other moms have been sharing. I hope that you can stay to the end and you can hear the question and answer time, and that you feel comforted in knowing not that another mom is struggling, but that somebody else gets it and understands, and that somebody is going through similar things, and that maybe, wow, I am not the only one that is feeling so overwhelmed, discouraged, like it's too late, like I'm failing, and that actually has helped to bring your anxiety down, has helped you to feel more grounded, has helped you to feel like, you know what, I can do this. And there is always, always hope. And I can make those positive changes I want to make. Kelly, I really have to work on not taking the bait. Sarah, I'm working on giving positive feedback to my 15-year-old son with ADHD. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Kelly. Cindy, let's see here. Oh, South Africa. Hi, Anita. I'm so glad that you're making it live today as well. Love it. What time is it there? Anna, focusing on the positive, listening without giving advice. So love that. Really good stuff. It makes me so happy to read all of these comments. Yeah, how to help my 15-year-old son be more emotionally open. Yes, Kate. Well, we can talk about that as well. So today we are going to be talking about listening, the importance of listening, but we are going to be talking about how to help your teen problem solve and become resilient. And I don't know about you, but I'm like, what does that really have to do? I always like to put on all of you a question that I think you would have, because I know I would have it. And so what I would be asking myself is like, well, how does this topic fit into how to understand and help your tween or teen with challenging emotions, attitudes, and behaviors? What does resilience and problem solving, what does that have to do with helping them to cope with their emotions? Well, here's the thing. Our kids have big emotions. Big emotions. They have so much. We talked about on the first day, all that's going on inside of them. So many changes, so many transitions. Transitions for them because they're pushing to adulthood, transitions to us because we don't have as much control. That is hard and it's really scary. And we had a lot of control. I mean, if you had a strong-willed one, maybe not so much, but we had a lot more control when they were younger. There was a lot of things that we could, arrange those play dates for them. We could do a lot. We could make sure they were safe physically, right? And now they're out. Maybe some of you have kids that are driving, and it's scary. And we need to be able to help them to take ownership of their lives. Because here's the thing, we're here, right? We're feeling scared and we're trying to launch them and we want to do a good job and we feel like we're failing and our kids are talking back and all of those things that are going on. And maybe they're not doing their schoolwork and they don't seem to care about things. And so we're clinging, right? We're like, how do we get them through? And how do we get them on the other side? And how do we help them to thrive when all this is going on? And so we're carrying it and we're carrying, my inner circle mamas know I talk a lot about this. We're carrying oftentimes a lot more than they are. So how do we help them to problem solve, to care, to become responsible, and to become resilient in the face of the reality of all that they're going through, so that when they leave our nest, they are more equipped, more confident to launch, where their chance and likelihood to thrive and be resilient in the world increases. This is what we all want for our kids, right? We want to raise kids that are strong and resilient and thrive. And meanwhile, we're coping with a lot of emotions, and they are as well. So that is why we are talking about this today. And this is where the rubber is going to meet the road. And this is where a lot of what we've been talking about over the last 2 days is going to come together. So when our kids are resilient and they can become stronger problem solvers, and do you notice I say they? We often say, I always know I'm kind of like not on the good track when I say we're good problem solvers. I'm like, no, this is them, right? This is about them. And when I'm taking it saying we, it's like I'm kind of taking over. That's like just one of my little dashboard lights to know when I'm doing that. But when they become more resilient, when we can support them to become more resilient, they're going to be able to push more through those emotional challenges and those struggles that they are having and those big emotions. And just not even just the emotional challenges, but the challenges that come their way in life. It's going to help them to be able to manage stress. A lot of you have been talking about how you have kids that have a lot of anxiety. It's going to help your kids that have ADHD, that are neurodiverse. This is what we want to be talking about, fostering resilience and helping them to develop problem solving. So here's where we're going, an overview. And hopefully, and I've written on mine, hopefully you printed out your workbook. You're going to get the answers. I will give you a little cheat sheet. I haven't put that in there, so just know it, but it will be coming with the replays on the one page that all the replays can be found in the workbook and all of that. But we're going to talk about 2 things that we need to trade in for something that is so much better. We're going to be talking about the power of influence and what I mean by the power of influence. And we're going to be talking about 4 keys to help your tween or teen problem solve. How do you help your kid to problem solve? Like you're thinking, their brain's not fully developed, right? They're not, that prefrontal cortex we talked about on the first day is not fully engaged. So they don't seem like they can even remember. One mom was like yesterday, and I just felt like so much compassion towards her because I've been there. It's like, how do I get them to remember to even brush their teeth? Let alone you're talking about how to help them problem solve. Like they're not even taking a shower. So just know if you're there, that is part of a common struggle so many of you are going through. But we are going to talk about how to teach them how to problem solve and become resilient. And then I have a big surprise at the end, and I have some special guests that are going to be coming. And make sure if you just jumped on here, you stay on because you're going to have a chance to win a $20 Amazon gift card, 5 of you, okay? And the word that I use, do not type it in right now. I'm just telling you what it is because I say it at the end. is pumpkin. I'm going to keep it the same as yesterday. And then I'm going to do question and answer. So know that. So you can ask your questions. So let's dive in. Okay. So what are the two things that we need to trade in? And I know so many of you have been like waiting for this. What do we need to trade in? What do you think we need to trade in? So I would love to hear, what do you think? There's no wrong answers here. No wrong answers. Control, absolutely. Right, Kim? Right, Olga? Control. Yeah, ditto, Callie. Exactly. So the number one thing, and this is in your workbook, that we need to trade in is control for influence. Number two, what does anybody want to, this one's a little tricky. What's the second? We need to trade in blank for blank. Anybody want to give it just a wild guess? Negativity, that's a good one. And actually, that fits under this. Talking for listening, Amy, yes, that fits in. Advice, yes, that fits in. And this is kind of how I'm always, as I create these, I'm always kind of thinking, how would I kind of sum it all up? So here, judgment, Stacy, yes. Here's how I summed it up. We need to trade in doubt for faith in their capabilities. We need to trade in doubt for faith in their capabilities. You're probably like, oh, I don't know about that. We're going to talk about it. So number one, trade in control for influence. So we've been talking over these last few days about the huge transition that's happening. And I hope as I talk about this transition, it's made you go, oh yeah, this is why it's so stressful. This is a big transition for me with my kid, that all of a sudden they woke up one day and they didn't want to hang out with me anymore. One day they wake up and they don't really want to be seen with me, and I'm losing that connection with them. Yeah, one day I woke up and gosh, they just want to be in their rooms cocooning. I say something and they hiss at me. And I feel like I don't have any influence. All of a sudden, they're arguing with me, they're disagreeing with me. I feel powerless. I don't know what to do. And this is a huge transition. And remember, it's a perfect storm, because what are they doing? They are wrestling right now to figure out who they are. They're wrestling to figure out where they belong and fit in the world. They're trying to figure out, what peer group do I fit in to? Who am I? And they change. They change the way they dress. They change the way they think as they are in. It's kind of like a tornado. They're just like swirling. They have all these emotions. They have all these pressures. Talked a lot about that the first day. So they're in this perfect storm, and they have so many changes that are happening inside of them. The adolescent brain, there's like wires that are dangling here and they're not all connecting. And so that emotional regulation, it's like out the window, right? They are that sports car. If you have a kid that's like crying one minute, so many moms I work with, they're like, my kid, they loved me last night and they woke up and they hate me this morning. It's like whiplash. Who's feeling like that? And why don't they want to hang out with us anymore, Kate? Because here's the thing. I love that question. They are fighting for independence. And they need to learn, this is so developmental. And if you weren't here for day number 1, go back and listen to it, because I talk about this. They have to figure out how to conform to a group. It is all divinely designed. How they have to move towards their adulthood. So when they move to adulthood, we have to ask ourselves, do we want them living with us and depending on us when they're in their 20s and their 30s? Now, some kids come back and, they're trying to save money and all that. I'm not talking about that. But do we want them to be dependent on us? We want them to be independent, right? And so they are pushing for that. And if your kid is pushing to be independent, you are doing something right. They need to put their foot on the gas for that. And you know what? It's scary for them because one moment they want to be 18 and when I turn 18, who's heard that? You can't tell me what I can do. I'm just going to do my own thing. You have no control over me. And then the next minute they're like wanting to, pull I mean, this is what my son did in middle school, pull his mattress into our room because he didn't want to grow up. And so they're in this push and this pull, and they need, and I cannot stress this enough, they need to learn how to conform with peer groups. When they get a job, they need to learn how to conform. And oftentimes, the closer that we are to them, the more they have to pull away. I saw it with every single one of my kids before they left for college. They got ugly senior year. I was like, what the heck is going on? And I realized they kind of got to make a mess before they're able to leave. So know that that is very normal and it's also really painful. This whole transition is super painful. So I hope that that answers your question. And so the truth is that we have limited control. We can't make them. We can't make them want to be with us. And if you have a middle schooler, let me just give you a little bit of hope. My kids all went through this in middle school. They got a little better in high school. They're super self-conscious in middle school. They don't want to be seen with you because they're afraid of their judgments of their friends. I found that as they got into high school, it got a little bit better and they wanted to hang out again. But go to the movie theater with us? No way. Be seen out at a restaurant with us and have their friends see. That was for my youngest. She was, and I think it's because she was so much younger and she was an only child, and going with dad and mom to a restaurant, seeing her friends just didn't feel cool to her. So, just know it does get a little bit better, is my experience. So anyway, during this transition, they're going to pull away. They're going to fight for independence. They're going to make mistakes. They are going to flounder. They're going to flounder. Let's just get really real here. We don't want them to flounder. They're going to flounder. They're going to doubt themselves. They're going to lack confidence. Their confidence in middle school goes down 30%. Why? Because they start caring so much about what other people think of them, that they're walking around and they won't tell you. But if they come home after school and they explode on you, chances are maybe today wasn't a great day at school for them. And they are doubting themselves and they're feeling anxious about different things. And they don't really know because they don't really understand themselves yet. Also, they think they know all the answers. They will take risks. They will break your rules and they're going to face many challenges. And it's not going to be fun to watch it. They will also have to learn how to navigate anxiety, relationships. Anybody have a kid that's just had a breakup? Painful. They're going to have to learn how to navigate hurt, anger, big emotions. Remember, they can't regulate their emotions right now. So for us to expect them, talked about it yesterday, to be an adult when their brains are not fully developed and they've never learned how to handle, I mean, think about ourselves, how to handle conflict in middle school, especially if you're a girl, very different. Boys have to learn it too. It looks a little different. Why do they gossip? Why is there so much drama? They haven't learned how to handle their emotions and to work through conflict. Nobody's ever taught them. And that's why you're here, because we got to learn it if we want to be able to influence them. So I'm not going to go in. I have into my whole list, I have a lot more. But my question to you is, how do you feel when I read all of this? How do you feel? I'm glad that was helpful, Kate. Good, Kim, hopeful. And I'm imagining Kim feels hopeful because it kind of normalizes it. It's like, okay, these struggles, these challenges, I feel hopeful because a lot of this is really normal. Also, Lauren, overwhelmed. Yeah, relieved that I'm not crazy. Yes, you're normalizing this experience. And you know what's funny? I was thinking scared, but I love that you feel empowered and at peace because it's normal. But it's also scary because they're going to struggle. And so we're on the other end. I couldn't find a rubber band. So we're standing here. Imagine this as a rubber band. And it's like, we're being pulled, right? It's like they're holding on to one end and they're trying to like let go of that rubber band. And it's like, we're trying to let them get older. And it's just scary. Why? Because we cannot take away their pain. We cannot take away their struggle. We can't make them. We can't. We can't make them. That is so frustrating, isn't it? Because we do know when we're seeing something and it's like, I don't think this is going to go very well. And we're going to talk about letting go of that control. And it feels we're on shaky ground, right? We want to control things. Why? Because we love them. We care. We want them to be successful. A lot of how we see ourselves is tied up into our kids and how they're doing. And if they're not doing well, we tend to think that we're not doing well and that we're failing them in some way, versus this is just a natural process that they have to go through. So we want to protect them, right? But there is good news that even though your kid is pulling away, even though they don't seem to care about you and they'd rather be with their friends and all these different things are going on, they're disrespectful, you remain as one of the most powerful influences and forces in your tween and teen's life. You do. Nobody can take your place. They are just in this natural, normal developmental process, but you are still their rock, and they need you more than anybody else. So how do we trade in control for influence? Well, we're going to be going into detail about this. Excuse me, but influence, and this maybe is something you want to jot down, and it seems super simplistic. But here's the thing, and I've gone through this 3 times with all of my kids, and especially with my oldest, that was so tough. And I went through a lot of really painful, difficult stuff with her. And I wish I would have known this at the time, because I was trying to be her brakes and steering. ADHD kid struggling with anxiety and depression and huge emotional outbursts. And it was tough. And what I wish I would have known at the time is that my relationship was what influenced everything else. So if you're here and we talked about inflammation yesterday, and if you have a really inflamed relationship with your kid and you are fighting a lot with them, I want you to kind of, when you feel like you're swimming, if you're in the ocean, you're swimming through all the seaweed. Well, I hate swimming through seaweed, but let's just pretend. And so you're swimming, you got to get all of that stuff out of the way. Their grades, all of those different things. Yes. Does that matter? Are there certain things that they need guidance? Yes. But if your relationship is inflamed, if you're not in a good place with your kid, all of that other stuff, you're not going to have any influence. Period. That's the hard truth. Because here's the thing, they want autonomy. And the moment that we try and control is rooted in fear and anxiety. We're afraid. We don't want to let go, because if we let go of that control, remember the fortune telling on the first day, something bad is going to happen. We have a story that we are telling ourselves. And that story, most of the time, is not true. And what it does is it actually fuels disconnection, anxiety, fear. Your kids feel it. And what do you want to do if somebody is trying to control you? If my husband was like, get over here, you need to look at these bills. I want you to look at this bill right now, and I want you to figure out, what is this here? Is that going to have any good impact on me? Am I going to want to come over there and I'm in the middle of doing something and he's talking to me like that? Do I want to go over there and do what he's asking me to do? No, but so often we are trying to control our kids and make them do something. But what if he said, hey, now he doesn't call me babe. He actually calls me sexy mama, which is pretty cute. But if he said, hey, you know what? I need you to look at this because there's a couple of things I'm really confused about, and I don't know if it's fraud. And when you're done with whatever you're doing, if you would come over and look at this, that would be great, because I want you to check this out. So much better. Why? because it's rooted in respect. It's not trying to make me. It feels very different, doesn't it? Control is anxiety. It's this drive to make somebody do something. And none of us like to be controlled. So they, at this age, want autonomy. And if we're trying to control our kids, we are putting up a rock. And rather than them leaning into whatever it is, they're going to put up that, they're going to be like, sorry, you can't control me. You can't make me. So we have to trade control for influence. The stronger your bond with your tween or teen, the more influence you're going to have. How do you do that? Well, it's by what we talked about yesterday. Listen first. Listen 80% of the time. Talk 20. If you do one thing, if you take away one thing and you do that, you're going to see a big shift in your relationship. So they want to feel seen. We talked about that. They want to feel heard and they want to feel understood. And that is how we gain influence. So number 2, trade doubt for faith. What do you mean by that? Well, I was trying to come up with words. And in my experience being a mom and doing what I do for almost 20 years now, this is what I have learned. And leading groups is that when we doubt our kids' capabilities, our kids start believing that they are not capable. There is an unspoken message that we send to them that I don't believe in you. And so control, when we're trying to control, we're living out of a space of doubt that you need me to give you some advice because you're not going to be able to figure it out. Ooh, you need me to get in there and rescue you because if I don't, things aren't going to go well. I can already see this isn't going to go well. You need to get this done. You're not going to be able to go to that school. You're not going to be able to do this. You're not going to succeed. Oh, right? Who relates to that? I sure do. We go down that future, fortune telling bunny trail. And there's all kinds of stories we tell ourselves. And because of that, we operate out of this control and this anxiety, and our kids feel it, and it doesn't work. So I want to tell you a pretty powerful story about my daughter, my oldest. She is a single mom. She has 2 kids. And she supports her kids. And she called me, and it's probably been 6 years now. Now, this might sound a little harsh to you, but there's a whole backstory to it. And what was happening was there was a certain, you start seeing like things you maybe help out a little bit, right, with your kid. But then it happens again, and then you help them out a little bit. Right? It's a little tricky when you have a single mom and 2 grandkids. And so help her out a little bit. But I started seeing that there was a pattern that was happening. And I talked to my husband we said, we need to stop. We need to stop this because why? Because we're not helping, we are enabling her. So she called me and she said to me, Mom, I need this money. I need this money because if I don't get this money in 3 hours, then this is what's going to happen. And I knew my husband and I had agreed that we were going to say no. Really scary, okay? Scary to say that. But you know what I said to her instead? And there's a happy ending to this story. I said, honey, I believe in you. I believe that you are very resourceful, and I'm not going to give you that money. So you know what I did? She goes, okay, Mom. She hung up with me. I called one of my friends, one of my support people that's in my support group, and I cried. I cried. That's how painful it was for me to do that. So I'm like laying on the couch, totally depressed, feeling horrible, right? Feel so mean. And I get a call and it's her. She says, "Thank you, Mom. Thank you so much for not giving me that money." I'm like, "Excuse me? I figured it out. You were so right. I figured it out." And when you said that to me, I'm not kidding you. This is what she said. When you said that to me, it helped me to know that I could figure it out. Because a lot of times our kids will come to us first, and we're so scared that we jump in there, right? And yet, I have seen this over and over and over again that when we do that, it disempowers our kids. So we need to have faith in their ability. And you're probably thinking right now, some of you like, well, I can't because they're doing so poorly right now. And it's, how do I have it? Here's what I'm going to say to you. You got to fake it till you make it. You got to fake it till you make it. Now, some of you, I know you have depressed kids, kids that are maybe having suicidal ideology. I do not want you to misunderstand me. That's not what I'm talking about here. That looks very different. We need to get intervention. We need to get our kids help. So don't misunderstand me. There's some areas we got to step in. We cannot sit on the sidelines. But there are other areas. And even if you have a kid that is going through depression and dealing with all that, we have to also believe in them. Because why? Because we are the mirror. We hold up a mirror. We reflect back to our kids who we believe that they are. That's why yesterday I talked about how labels are so damaging to kids. We slap them on. And what does it say? You're not capable, right? And our kids start to doubt themselves. I moved in middle school to a new school. Having learning differences, they tested me. Of course, they didn't know a whole lot then. And what it came back is my mom said, well, they said, and I don't know how she said it, but this is how I heard it. You're not smart enough to take French. You're not smart enough to take French. It was like a label on me. And you take Spanish, not French. You're not going to be able to handle it. What do you think I took away from that? Now, I'm not saying I should have taken French. I don't know. But I came away with this belief I'm not smart enough to do hard things. And your kids can do hard things. They need us to believe that they can do hard things. So doubt sounds like, oof, I don't know if they can handle this. Oh my gosh, I got to make this better. I got to fix it. I got to reassure them. I got to get in there. I need to fix for them for this. They're not going to be able to handle this pain. I hear it a lot of time, especially with breakups, where moms will reach out to me. And believe me, there is absolutely no judgment or shame in this because I've done it. And I'm not saying it's wrong. It's totally normal that we feel this way because there's nothing more painful than seeing your kid hurting or in pain or crying to you about their heartache or being lonely or being left out or being bullied. Oh my gosh, that is awful, being the mom that's sitting in that. But here's the thing that I want you to know. It is not making things better that makes things better. It is not being alone in our suffering and our pain. And knowing that we're going to have these emotions and these feelings in life, that it is a part of life to experience pain. And that our kids know that they are going to get through it and that we are there to sit with them in it and to normalize the pain of whatever it is. Because that's where the crazy making is. One time I was saying to my mom, and not to throw my mom under the bus, but I was saying, and this was recent, this was like within the last 5 years, I'm like, I am really scared to go to that event. Like, there's women there and, I don't know any of them. And, she meant to be helpful. She's like, "Oh, well, I don't know why you would feel that way. Why would you, of all people, feel that way?" And you know what that did? It made me more anxious because even knowing what I know, I was like, ooh, I shouldn't be feeling this way. And that's what it does for our kids. Like, something must be wrong with me. I shouldn't be feeling this way. Why am I feeling anxious about this? I shouldn't. Versus, thanks for telling me that. Yeah, going to those social events, I can understand why that might cause you anxiety. Being with a bunch of people you don't know. See, it's the validating. So faith is holding our kids with that positive regard, believing they're capable, trusting, this is where we get into problem solving, that they have the answers inside of them, that they can figure out with our guidance what they need to do, that they can learn from their mistakes and their struggles and their challenges, and that they, because of that stretching of the rubber band, there's been a lot of research. We have to stretch. This is even with school refusal, stretching the rubber band just a little bit, not where it's going to snap, but a little bit out of our comfort zone is actually what builds resilience and confidence. So, what are the 4 keys to building problem solving and resilience skills? Well, I've touched on these already. I get off on a little bit of a tangent. So, some of this I'm repeating what we've already talked about, but that's good. So, number 1, it's allowing them to struggle. It's allowing them to struggle because here's the thing, life is struggle. It doesn't mean that there's not so many good things. That's what our kids need to know too. There's going to be struggle, there's going to be pain, and there's going to be so much good. And they have to learn how to handle both. We don't want it just to be a picnic in the park for them, that they can actually grow through. And we want them to struggle now while they're in our home. I led a group of moms that their kids were struggling with failure to launch, all of them. And some had actually been in therapeutic boarding schools and had gone to wilderness camps and had been extremely defiant and oppositional and all those things. And I asked them one time, I said, if you look back to the middle school years, what is there anything you wish you would have done differently? Excuse me. Those of you that have come the last 2 days know I'm fighting a cold. And you know what they said? All of them across the board. I would have allowed them to struggle sooner. And here's the thing, if our kids struggle with like neurodiversity and different things, and we're watching them struggle, it's much easier to want to help them out to make up for that struggle. It's just they all were there with kids that had certain things, or maybe had even been sick as children. And they were, driven more by that fear, which I totally understand because I've been there. And so they were saying, I wish I would have allowed them to struggle, because the more I jumped in, the more I rescued, the worse it became. And the hardest thing to watch is our kids struggling. So the goal is actually to help our kids feel at home with their anxiety, with their struggles, with their discomfort. And how do we do that? That's by sitting with them. That's by listening. That's by not jumping in and fixing. That's by validating the struggles that we all go through in life. And it's actually by letting them know they're not alone in it. And some things that we can say is, I'm just so glad you're telling me this. I don't know. I wish that I had an answer or that I could fix it in some way. But I do believe in you and that you're going to get through this, and I'm here for you when you want to talk about it. Or, yeah, that sucks. That stinks. That is hard. That's difficult. You know what? It makes sense that you don't want to go to school today. And then we stand believing that they're capable. We don't feed the beast of anxiety. We just watch it pass by. There it goes. There goes anxiety. Yeah, I hear you. You don't want to go to school today. Now, those of you that have school refusals, that's a big one. So don't, it's complicated. So I don't want to simplify something that's very complicated. But a lot of times what happens is what we talked about yesterday, we get hooked into it, right? Then we're trying to reassure them. And what are we doing? We're feeding the anxiety. Yeah, you don't want to go to school today. You just move on. Don't say anything else. Just validate not wanting to go to school. There's some days I don't want to show up for work, right? There's some days I don't want to get out of bed and go do anything. We all can feel this. We want to have it validated. So number 2, okay, this is another big one. Normalize mistakes and failures. I kind of hated to use that word, but I think that's kind of how it feels, because I think that a lot of times we can feel like we're failing because our kids are struggling. But we have to normalize it. Our kids are going to fall on their face. They're going to make mistakes. And it's a part of life. And I don't know about you, but that's how we learn. I learned from my mistakes so much more than I learned from anything else. And if we can normalize that, no, they're not bad kids, lying, they're going to lie. Yesterday, I went through my whole little list, of like, what is normal tween teen behavior, so that we can normalize, yeah, this is developmental. We're going to get through this. Just because my kid is lying to me right now, that's worth a conversation. We need to talk about that. And what is going on with this? Get curious, like we talked about yesterday. Normalizing some of this is really helpful to be able to enter in and have influence, have those conversations and influence over whatever is happening. But if we're approaching it out of that control and that anxiety place and thinking they shouldn't be making this mistake, they're bad that they're making this mistake, we're going to lose that connection with them. When my oldest first experimented with alcohol and drank, and I did not plan on sharing this. This is just popping into my brain, and maybe one of you needs to hear it. What I did was I freaked out. And I freaked out. I had another mom tell me, and I freaked out because here's the thing, and I'm embarrassed, but I'm going to be vulnerable. I didn't think she would do that. I really didn't. And so when I heard about it, I really blew this thing up, made a big deal out of it, rather than going, oh, okay, they're going to experiment with different things, not going to like it, don't want it to happen, but statistics show they will experiment. And where I could have had a conversation with her around it, but because I freaked out about it, do you think she wanted to talk to me about it? No. And in fact, today she tells me that because I freaked out, and she wrote a blog post about it, because I freaked out, she didn't tell me things. She withheld talking to me about a lot because she didn't trust that I could handle it. So we need to normalize and allow for mistakes and make our homes a safe place where we can mess up and we can say, what did you learn from it? Tell me what was going on. My youngest, when she experimented with alcohol. We were able to talk about like what was going on with you when that happened. Well, a lot of my friends were doing it and I wanted to fit in. And then we were able to have a more meaningful conversation around it. They're gonna make mistakes. And that's where we need to have faith. Pumpkin. Love it, love it, love it. Woo! Okay, you $20 gift card winners. I love it, I love it. Congratulations. So jot this down, Jen at momsofTweensandTeens.com. Okay, Jen is handling it. So let her know that you won and reach out to her, Jen at momsofTweensandTeens.com. A few moms reached out to me, but I told them to reach out to Jen because I'm not handling that part. Okay, congratulations, those of you that won. Number 3, moving right along because we're getting close to your little surprise. Number 3 is ask versus tell. I love this analogy of bat the ball back. Your kids throw you lots of stuff, bait. I don't want to go to college. I know a couple of you are going through that in the inner circle right now where your kid says they don't want to go to college. And that's just what your family did. Everybody goes to college. All of a sudden they're like, I don't want to go to college. And so they dump it on us. So imagine a ball comes to me, it lands, and here I'm holding it. And I'm kind of like, it's like hot potato, right? We have all this reactivity. Or I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that, right? And we're holding on to it. And then because it's like a hot potato, we're trying to figure out what to do with it in order to change this and how to get them to, to convince them that they need to study for this or they need to do this or, and so what do? We end up out of our anxiety. Oftentimes we can end up telling them. We give them a lecture. We give them advice. And what do? Who of you came the first day? They become what? Two different animals we talked about. Anybody remember? Feral cat, right. Feral cats. What else? I'll give a hint. We have a shell. Turtles, yes. So when the moment, and watch this, start watching. The moment that you tell them, you give them advice, whoosh, run under the bed like a feral cat, hiss at you, yell at you. I know, Mom. I know, right? Now, sometimes we need to remind them we're going to get that response. So just to normalize that. But they become like feral cats or turtles and they pull into their shell and you're going to start noticing that. And you're going to go, oh, call yourself out. Oh, I noticed. Oof, I wasn't listening. I'm sorry. I gave you advice you didn't ask for. That is called unsolicited advice. They're not asking you. So what do? You ask versus tell. Huh. Wow. Okay. Well, I hear you do not want to go to college. Okay. What's going on that you're thinking what about college do you find that you don't want to go? See, we get curious, we ask a question, then we shut up. Sometimes it's saying nothing in that moment. It's going, oh, that's new. I haven't heard that before. So you don't want to go to college. Yeah, I don't want to go to college. Then you just let it sit because chances are they're afraid. Now, maybe they want to pursue something different. Okay. Maybe they do. And that's worth a conversation. But it's our own anxiety that I want to help you with. And so they say something and we feel like we've got to say something back. But what we want to do is we want to bat the ball back to them. We want to give them ownership. We want to give them positive control. That is what's going to influence them. That is going to raise the likelihood of your kids in time realigning with your values, making wise choices. But see, the more that you're trying to control them, the more that you're advice giving, the more that you're fighting with them, the more they're getting the message that they're bad kids, the more they're getting messages that I don't believe you're capable. You've lost influence. And you're going to get what? Rather than relationship, you're going to get rebellion. It's what I got. And boy, it wasn't good. And I didn't know this stuff at the time. So they're craving independence. They need to learn how to solve their own problems. And so what happens is if we get in there and we tell, there's a few things that happen. Usually, first of all, we don't know all the details. And usually the advice we give doesn't fit with what they would decide to do. And then another thing is we become Charlie Brown's teacher. It's like, wah, 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 wah. They don't want to hear our advice. They didn't ask for it. So another thing you can say is, hey, you know what? Would you listen first, 80-20 rule, listen. And then after a period of time, you can maybe in another conversation, you say, hey, I was thinking about what you said about something. I had some thoughts. Would you like to hear my thoughts? You invite. That's how you gain influence. They want respect. They want independence. They want positive control. And here's the thing, if you're controlling them, they're usually going to go about seeking that control in negative ways. And what is that going to be? It's going to be fighting against you because you're the boulder, right? And they want to be independent. So we have to bat the ball back. So here's a few other questions. What do you want to do about that? What might you do in this situation? Is there anything I can support you with? What do you think you might need? So you're asking them. Oh, tell me more. Reflecting back. So number 4, be strong and steady and believe in them. So here's the thing. If we want to be strong, if we want to be steady, if we want to have that influence and believe in them, we need to invest in ourselves. It's what I talked about yesterday. And it's hard to give what we didn't get. And the greatest gift we can give our kids is to invest in ourselves. It's to invest in ourselves. And the truth is that we interact with our kids primarily based on how we were interacted with as kids. And so I talked about yesterday, this reparenting concept where actually we need to learn, how do I manage my own anxiety? How do I start speaking a different language? How do I, because here's the deal. The language we speak to our kids is what they end up speaking to themselves. And this is why we started the Inner Circle membership. This is why we had it, because I realized, and Jen and I realized, that we could only influence moms to bring about those changes in the lives that they wanted in their lives and in their kids' lives and in their families' lives if we had a whole nother level of support. Because here's the thing, if you're going through a really tough time with your tween or teen, and so many of you have said that, like, I feel totally disconnected. My kid hates me. I feel like I've lost them. I feel like I'm failing all the time. They're so disrespectful. They're going down a really bad path. I am exhausted and I am overwhelmed and I have no idea what to do. And when you invest in yourself, you're making the best investment. You're investing in your family, your kids, and future generations. And the reason I say this is because I would be doing a great disservice. And I know that you've learned so much during these 3 days, but I would be doing a great disservice if I said, this is great. Because making changes in our lives are not easy. They're hard to shift. We want our natural, and this is research again, is our natural way of being is to go back to those old patterns. It's hard to make change. And you're actually, when you join the membership, you are not spending money, you're investing money. Because here's the truth. If you're struggling with your teen and you don't get help and invest in that, it's going to cost you so much more money down the road. We know that if we can get ahead of it, it's a money saver when we can do that. And so the Inner Circle membership, and I'm going to have a couple moms that are in our circle, they are going to come on and talk about their struggles personally, because it's such a beautiful thing when they come and share their stories, and you can be so encouraged by them. And I'm so proud of the moms. Christy says she's interested. Great. You will get more information. Yeah, Sarah said, I joined the Inner Circle 3 years ago instead of going to therapy, and it was the best decision I made. And Lori's in the Inner Circle also. And, I'm so proud of the moms, and I'm so proud of what we've built. And the worst part about struggling is feeling alone and stuck. And what I love about the Inner Circle, and I'll let the moms tell you, is we started where you have a $14 14-day money back guarantee. 14 days to see if you don't love it, you get all your money back. And we have amazing bonuses. I'll tell you a little bit about that. We have about 3 minutes until they come on. But here's the cool thing. We now have an app. So when you go to your phone and you type in Moms of Tweens and Teens, you can pull up our app. And it's amazing, amazing, because you have access to all of our courses, the Parenting Success Roadmap, which, oh my gosh, I can't even attach a price tag to that. The first 20 people, it's early bird today, that sign up, you get a one-on-one 30-minute call with me. The first 20 people. So know that, which is worth a lot of money in and of itself. And you get 14-day money back guarantee. But you have so much. I mean, your library is filled with resources, filled with downloads, and you get the community in there. You can also open it up on your desktop, so it's both from your phone and desktop. We have so much in there. There's this success roadmap in there. There's a whole course on boundaries, building a healthy relationship. I mean, boundaries are huge. So many of you are dealing with boundaries. But the beauty of this community is that there are moms in there that are struggling with certain, similar things. So you ask a question and you're like, I don't know what to do about this. And other moms come in there and moms will say, you know what, my kid just got suspended from school for a few days. Should I talked about that yesterday? Should I punish them when they come home? They're going to be home in a couple hours. What do I do? And moms are in there and they answer you. I also do a weekly coaching call where you can personally connect with me. And we do once a month, we do an in-person meetup and we do challenges in there, which are amazing. So we just finished a whole self-care challenge and we're planning even more challenges. And so we always set up our first challenge for all of you that are joining. So it is amazing. It takes a huge weight off. But here's the thing, and I'll let the moms come on. If you don't get help now, it's going to cost you more money in the future. It gets more expensive because these bigger challenges, they don't go away. And we want to have great relationships with our kids, don't we? We want to have great relationships with our kids. And I see that there's some questions here. So Jen, let me know how I let them on because I want them to meet our surprise guest. There's Jess. Hi, Sarah. Yay. Oh my gosh. Okay, you're unmuted. Great. So, all right. So we have the moms on here. I would love, and there's Megan. Hi, Megan. So thank you for being willing to come on here. So why don't you start, Jess, and let them know about what you were going through when you came to the workshop for the first time. Tell them about your pain, what was happening. You don't have to go into too much detail.
Okay. So I actually joined about 2 years ago exactly. And at the time, my daughter was she was 12 at the time. My son, so I have two kids. My daughter is currently 14. My son is currently 11. So 2 years ago, I had just gotten done switching my daughter's schools for various reasons, and she was becoming very reclusive, she was not talking to us at all. She was getting into some very dark content and showing a lot of signs of depression. And I was getting, told by people in my life that, oh, it's normal for kids to kind of, become reclusive, things like that. And then, I was very concerned and had started Googling, what was going on in the situation. And that's how I found the Moms of Tweens and Teens site. And a lot of the content on there, I was immediately okay, this makes a lot of sense and gave me some value. But I was really in crisis mode when I started looking for help and came across Cheryl and reached out to her and ended up signing up for some one-on-one specifically with her before I even got into any of the you know, webinar things or anything like that, because it was pretty bad. And then my daughter ended up getting hospitalized from things, and that kind of sealed things for me in terms of like needing to move forward and getting the support from Cheryl. So that was very, very high level what was going on in my life at the time that I came here.
Yeah. And what was your experience? Thank you, Jess, so much for sharing that. I'd forgotten how it happened. Like I'd forgotten it came first and then it was a membership.
Uh-huh.
So how did you find when you did join the membership, what was that like for you when you started getting to know the moms? How did that make a difference? I'm gonna say.
It was, I was so set in my own ways of like, because this is how I was raised, and parenting was this one way based on my experience from being raised that way, that finally having like a foundation of like, here's a better way to approach certain situations was very like relieving to me. Finally finding a resource that like I could trust to like lead me in the right direction, because there's a whole bunch of information out there, and like trying to like sift through everything to figure out like what actually is going to help in my particular situation. I felt like from day one, honestly, I was able to immediately start implementing some of the things that I was learning. And there were some things that I was very hesitant of like, is this really going to work? Like I had a bad, one of my bad habits that I tried breaking was like talking instead of listening. Like that was just default for me. Like I felt like I had to tell them like what needed to happen. And it took Cheryl repeating to me and like hearing it in the group repeatedly that like, no, we have to listen. And the first time that I actually implemented that one, I got such great results. Like I was completely bought into it, that, okay, I understand why this is so important, because like my daughter talked for like 2 hours in the car after like the first time. And I'm like, this is amazing. So what else am I being taught that I'm not doing or being hesitant to do that, I just need to like jump in and do it. But I think just the information, the knowledge has been really helpful. The community of like, I'm not alone, because it really felt like I was alone. I don't really have many other families that I'm close to that have teenagers to like be able to say, is this normal or is this not? But like having a community of people to where, you know, like Cheryl was mentioning right before we got on, that we can just post in there and like other moms will chime in saying like, my daughter went through this too, or my son went through this too. And it's just very relieving knowing that I have like other people who understand what I'm going through, or, near what I'm going through, that can just give me some validation that it's normal or not normal, and, provide some guidance on how to handle it.
Yeah, I love that, Jess. And where are you today?
So it's been a long and bumpy road. There's been lots of ups and downs. I've done a lot of like work on myself through this process because, my daughter is a teenager and she's going to be a teenager and go through all of the things that normal teenagers go through. And it's my approach to it that I felt like needed to change. And so, I feel like things are in a much better spot with my daughter, whether that has a lot to do with just her own growth that she's been going through or like my approach to things. But I feel like now our relationship is better because I've been able to like actually listen and not just always tell her things. And the she's she's done a complete 180, and I have a hard time taking credit for any of that because I feel like she's done a lot of her own thin things, but I am in one of Cheryl's small groups also, and was reminded recently in that group of like not to sell myself too short, because I have done a lot of implementing like the tools that I've been enabled with through this group. I've been implementing those, and to not sell myself too short, because that's impacted my daughter and my relationship with her quite a bit as well. So just that alone, and having that group and that like community to speak truth back to me in the situations has been really good. So things are not perfect, but I think comparing from where I started, I would say like I am like things are good right now.
Yeah. Thanks, Jess. It's been so um, just gratifying, and it's so exciting when you see other moms that are coming out the other side. And still, it doesn't mean it's perfect or that there's not challenges or struggles, but to have that support, know you're not alone in it. People that you can lean on when it's tough makes a humongous difference. And like you said, growing, and your relationship with her is so different from when I first met you. So yeah, yeah, you've done such important work. So I celebrate you.
Thank
So
you.
who wants to go next? And you can ask them questions. So anybody that's on here that wants to ask a question.
Megan,
So
you can go.
Okay, sure.
so Megan, what was it like for you when you decided to join? Because I think you're the newest person here.
Yeah.
Like, where were you at?
So I think I joined like May, June timeframe. Where I was at that point, I have twin sons. They were had just turned 14. They were in middle school, and I was finding myself totally inept at communicating with them. All of the things that I used to do to try to make it better or, you know, help them get through things weren't working at all. And I think I'm very out of, you know, the Cheryl textbook as far as what she was talking about earlier, as far as like I would, you know, really I'm very anxious too. So if they were upset, I would probe and like try to get answers from them, and it would just make it worse. And they wanted to talk to me before when they were younger, and they really suddenly didn't. And one of my kids was very depressed at that time, and so that concerned me even more. So they're not talking to me. And yet my other son was going through, you know, equally challenging regular teenage stuff. And I kind of started to panic about it. Like, I don't even know what's going on with them. I don't know if they're okay. But I think I watched this presentation as it was given back then, and I thought, oh wow, these are some things I haven't tried. And I think also the expectations and the normalness of what they were going through and their brain development and all of that kind of stuff really kind of spoke to me. Was like, okay, I think I think this is a really great place for me to learn a lot of information that I don't know right now. And I think it'll ultimately help me with two things. Number one, help me with communication with my kids, but also help me to kind of reason with myself and have appropriate expectations and appropriate levels of worry and anxiety, which I think were influencing my communication with them. So, so yeah, I mean, that was what was going on for us at that time. And I also really needed support of other moms. I really wanted to be in a group of other moms who I knew could understand, even just, you know, put a hand on my back, if nothing else.
Yeah. What do you feel like, you know, for those moms that are sitting here and they're kind of, I don't know, you know, if I really want to join, you know, what would you say to the mom? Because I do think it's kind of scary when you join something like this. It's like you don't know
Yeah.
what it's going to be like. What would you say to them if they're holding back?
The first thing I would say is I don't join things easily. I like to get a lot of information, so I'm exposed to a lot of opportunities to join various things, subscriptions or memberships or whatever, a lot. And it takes a lot for me to want to invest my time and money in something like that. So I think the first thing I want to say is that just the community and being able to put, everyone is so honest and vulnerable and real. We all have a lot of really big things going on.
Hmm.
So when I'm over here and I'm feeling like, should I put this out there? Should I expose this thing? I don't have a command over it yet emotionally. I don't know how it's gonna sound, etc. I felt comfortable very quickly putting my real stuff out there for everybody. I was received very warmly from the beginning. There was no, I never felt ever like, okay, I'm gonna have to work my way in and, win hearts and minds before someone will support me, right? Never felt that way. And I really needed that. And I also think too, and I think that this is particularly important to me, and I don't know if it resonates with anybody else, but I always feel really wonderful too inside when I'm supporting other people. And so the inner circle doesn't just give me the opportunity to be supported, it offers me the opportunities to support other moms too, because sometimes I'm the one making a comment on something I've experienced. And the idea of helping someone with an easier road than I had with something that I really struggled with is really gratifying for me, and it also helps me heal. So I think it's both, and I think it's hard to nail down just a couple of things that at least I personally feel like I'm getting from it. But I do feel like we have a discussion about some really hard things. And when I joined, I needed to have those talks. I had a kid that was very, very depressed, and it was very scary to me. And I needed other women who were willing to say those things out loud. So that's why I'm staying. I just joined and left, but that's one of the main reasons why I'm staying, is because I keep getting that and so much else.
Yeah. Well, I like that you brought that up about how it's mutual. It's
Yeah.
not just, it's like when I'm stuck in my own junk and I'm like, if I can support somebody else, it really helps me.
Yeah.
And so and I get stuck in my own junk all the time, and so but then when I can like use it for good and help somebody else, so there's a mutuality that happens, which is just so important, I think, of being in a group. And you're not just, I think that therapy is very important and and very helpful. And what's beautiful about a community is you learn from everybody. So there's a lot of different moms that you can learn from. And we have different circle groups. They're called circles on the app. And so ADHD kids and single moms, and there's a lot of different groups in there that you can be a part of, which is really helpful. So yeah, thank you, Megan. And how about you, Sarah?
Hi, how are you? What do you want me to say? Do you have any special
Yeah.
questions or
Well,
just like
I
introduce
guess
myself?
what, you share a lot. Sarah's the one that I shared your story about your son that was so powerful. And tell about like, where were you at when you came to the first workshop?
Oh, well, it was almost, I'd say 3 years ago. I think this is my fourth or fifth 3-day workshop. I keep attending knowing that I'm probably gonna learn something new, and I do. Or I'll forget what's taught, and then I'm like, oh, I forgot about that. I need to start implementing that. I have two boys. They're now 15 and 17, both neurodivergent. My oldest is on the autism spectrum, high functioning, and has anxiety and a mood disorder. And then my youngest has ADHD, generalized anxiety, and social anxiety. So when you pile all that up and into a little bundle, and I'm a stay-home parent and a small business owner, every day was difficult. My husband and I don't parent the same. He's more, I don't care, this is the way it is. He's very non-emotional, and I think he might be on the spectrum as well in hindsight. So the emotion piece is taken out, and I am very also ADHD diagnosed recently. And so I wear my heart on my sleeve, and I am a worrier and have anxiety. And I was basically ready to start looking for a counselor, a therapist for myself. And then I got an email, or I saw something come through on your Facebook page with the Valentine hearts. and downloading the template. And so I said, I'll join the newsletter. So I clicked on the newsletter and I'm like, I'll go to this for 3-day workshop. Sure. And then I was in. Just the way I think how you approach everyday life and how, I can't even explain it. I could tear up just talking about it because life is so different today. It was the best money I've ever spent. The relationship I have with my kids, bar none. I'm so sorry. It's a good thing. And this is how real we get, people. This is to all the moms out there that are on this call. Like this is normal. Cheryl and Jen in the minute, am I gonna like, okay, someone who was crying, let's help her out. But it's true, it's life-changing. My husband and I are yin yang, very different. And I felt it was beneficial to tell my kids that I was taking this course and this group because and bettering myself as a mom so that I can in turn help them and be a happier person and we can get along better and life will be more pleasant living in our house. We used to have doors slamming and yelling and screaming and my kids and I, butt heads. And it's all about fear and anxiety and their brains and the way that they're developed and the ADHD brain. I've learned so much in this group about how people with ADHD, their brains aren't developed for, they're 2 to 3 years behind their peers and they're not as emotionally intelligent as their counterparts. And they kind of make some decisions that maybe are more risky than their peers and more immature. But I think going forward, like, right now, there is no more door slamming. The biggest takeaways I think I've had from the group or from joining, I guess I could say, is, the biggest one was control. I used to micromanage my children. I used to check off boxes and make Excel spreadsheets with all their missing work and then say, okay, you did that. Now what are you going to work on? They'd be sitting 10 feet from me. Okay, you did that. Now what are you going to do? And I stopped because the biggest thing I think you taught me, Cheryl, was the more that we control, let me rephrase that. The more I care, the less my children have to.
Yeah.
So if I care so much about their missing work and I care so much about what's going to happen with their grades, and I'm basically doing it for them, why should they even care? They know I'm going to do it. So why would they start working on stuff or why would they? It's just, can you repeat that? Okay. The more I care, the less they have to.
Yep. It's a big one.
That's huge. It's huge. And I didn't mean to get emotional. And I think
we love emotion here. That's another thing.
I know.
Tears
and I think
are always welcome.
I know a lot of this too. A lot of us moms with this age range are probably in that perimenal, menopausal, our hormones are also going, and we've had that conversation. Jess and I are in this small group with Becky that we just kind of made it our own, and it started out as like one thing, and now it's evolving into something else because we share so much, and it kind of tailored to what we're going through. The biggest thing is we're not alone, and you have the support of these people, and knowing you can be honest and genuine without being judged. That's one of the rules of being a part of the inner circle is there's no judgment. And if somebody asks for help, that's one thing, but you're not going to go blah and say, you need to do this and you need to do that, because that's not going to help anybody.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just need a safe space to express yourself. So
yeah, a lot of times it's just going and having somewhere where you can just dump out all that you're going through and have somebody support you through that. So yeah, I mean, all three of you,
Oh, I was going to say one more thing. I think Jess, you might have said this. So a year ago, almost to the day, we were in Chicago for a conference that Cheryl happened to be at, and she was a vendor. And those of us moms who either live nearby, it was open to anybody who wanted to come and join and meet in person. We met. And so Jess and I, and Megan, you were too new. I didn't get to meet you in person, but Jenny Stawick and Shannon Yip, she's from British Columbia or Vancouver, excuse me. She flew to my house. She flew to Milwaukee And then she came to my house and stayed overnight, and we were like soul sisters. She's 10 years older than me, and I feel like she's my twin. We have so much in common. We were farting in front of each other. We both snore. She was tweezing my eyebrows before we went to the conference. Like, I'm not kidding. I felt closer to Shannon based on these little Zoom calls that we do. And I don't say little, I say, weekly we meet. And then over 3 years of getting to know these moms, I felt closer to Jess, who I'd never met in person, than I had with my best friends who I've known for 30 years. And it was so amazing to be in with these people. And I cannot say anything more highly of you, Cheryl, of your staff, of Jen, and the amount of support and the amount of you're like the most genuine person. Like a lot of these like workshops, you'll attend a free workshop and then they won't give you any extra stuff until the end. And then if they do, you don't get what you think you're going to get. And then it's too expensive. And then you join and it's not what you thought. This is the most genuine group of women and teachers and guidance mentors that I've ever met. And I kudos to you. I cannot tell you my life would be a completely different place right now if I hadn't downloaded those Valentine hearts. Thank you.
I love that. Thank you, Sarah. That's what, we want to make this experience like it's very personal, and you do make friends for life. And there's so many, there's nothing I think of like, you feel like you're going to war in a way with the women because you're in it, and so to have, that's kind of maybe not the best analogy, but you're in your pain, and to have other people come alongside of you, it's life-changing. And so I know some of you are like, I don't know if I have the money to be able to do it. I totally understand that. I just want to say, try it. There's a 14-day money back guarantee. Check it out because it will save you money. I just think getting support when we're in the trenches in our time of need, there's nothing like it. It's an investment in your family. It's an investment in yourself. And wouldn't you all agree that it's how important it is to get support?
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like I said, it was either I get a counselor in therapy and start paying for therapy, or I do the one-time payment over monthly. I don't know if that's still how you're planning to do it, a monthly payment, or if it's a one-time thing, but we're in for life and you get all the bells and whistles with it once you're in. It's just amazing.
I wanted them all to meet you because your stories are so powerful, and it gives them hope, to hear your stories and just know the difference that's made in your life and that there's help available. And I just want to thank you. I'm going to get over to the questions now, and I'll share a little bit more, but any parting words? I will. I'll tell about the bonuses.
Sorry.
I see.
All I wanted to say was I do therapy and this is still worth doing. So.
I should probably still go get some therapy, but
I for sure need it, but I'm just saying it's still worth it on top.
Yeah, it's like sometimes, therapy is just like, this might not be, for you, Sarah, it was, but not a replacement, but it's like such an add-on that
it's what I needed.
Yeah, with other moms. So
I just wanted to say one thing. There was a question that came through, and I can kind of attest to it a little bit. The partner spouse doesn't buy into the strategies. Not that my husband didn't buy into it, but that he, like I said, he parents very different. And all I did was educate and mimic, and not mimic, what's the word? Like be like a
you were modeling.
Thank you. I was modeling the behavior. I was modeling the way I would ask questions. And anytime he'll go in to like talk to my kids, even as of today, 3 years later, okay, just remember, ask questions, validate. He's like, and then he just go to bed. He's so like, ooh, still, but I've seen him change, and I've seen him see the way and the benefits that it's had. So hopefully your partner or spouse can, also make the change, or at least appreciate what you're trying to do to be, because then if happy mom, right? Happy wife, happy life. I'm a happier
Well,
person because
I like that you're saying that because it really is true. Like we model and it's like we are the change. We can bring that change to our family. And I think that we underestimate that, but it's like that wind chime, when one person in the family system changes, it affects everybody.
Mhm.
And we really can, a lot of times we want to fix our kids versus like it does start with us, so, and of course we want our kids to be healthy and happy and all of that. But yeah, it does start with us. So Jen did share the link. Thank you for speaking to that. I also have a how to get on the same page with your partner. So that's for anybody that, even with exes, they can do it as well if they're willing. But there's a whole course in there that you get as part of it. So yeah, I couldn't copy the link. Thank you, Olga. Olga's in the inner circle too. So she's sharing the link. Thank you. So it's in there. So thank you. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Jess. Thank you, Megan. I so appreciate you showing up here and sharing your heart with these moms.
Thank you.
If any of
Okay.
them have any
All right.
questions,
Have a great day.
feel free to give my information out if anybody has any questions or has any,
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
Thanks, Sarah. Okay. All right. Bye.
Bye.
And we have great bonuses. So what I did when you sign up, and then I'll get to the questions, you get, and it wasn't that wonderful that they came on. I hope that was really encouraging and helpful. When you sign up today, you'll get the early bird, but it only lasts for 24 hours. I think it's 24 hours, Jen can say. And you get these bonuses. So the first 20 get a 30-minute with me. And you also get, I made you an ebook from all of the teaching. So it is like 45, 50 pages. It ended up being like over 40 pages, all of my notes that I took, and I made it into a book for you. So anything that you learned or that you missed, it's in this book for you. And it has all the scripts and the examples and all of that I shared. So you will get that as a bonus. We have made you a technology book, how to set boundaries and limits around technology. You get that ebook that's super helpful about how to navigate your kids' screen time if that's a struggle. There's a book available to you that I wrote around disrespect. If you're dealing with a strong-willed kid, a disrespectful kid, how do you navigate that? And then I did this beautiful book that I just love, and I can't wait to print it, around self-care and nurturing yourself. And it has beautiful, there's exercises in there, there's reflections that you can do, there are things that there's a little journal in there, and it's just really encouraging and inspiring. And that is available to you too. So only when you sign up for the membership do you get those bonuses, and you get the early bird price because it will go up. You get the 14-day money back guarantee, and you also get that 30-minute coaching call personally with me, which is really great when you sign up. And you get the login, you'll get all that so you can access everything on your app. We do the success, there is a parenting success roadmap that you can go through in your own time. And it talks about everything. It starts, it's their little 5-minute, 10-minute, 15-minute videos that you can go through with teaching, with downloads, with worksheets, with all kinds of exercises. And then I do the one call a month where we go through a lot of those things that I'm sharing. There's a whole thing on boundaries and setting limits, which is super tricky. We start with reparenting ourselves. We do this whole assessment with how were you parented? And can you see some of making these connections, which are really powerful to changing? And then I have experts that come on, so you have time to check with them. But then there's a whole piece of the community where there's groups, single moms, foster adopted moms, autistic, neurodiverse, divergent, just all, all different kinds of groups that you can join depending upon what your struggles and challenges are, and get support in there. And then we have weekly challenges, which are so exciting. And then of course I do the coaching call every week. So it's a live coaching call. You come like this, you submit your questions to me, I answer them, you get to connect with all the other moms. And then once a month I do an in-person, which is awesome. So, yeah, Christy, I hope you'll join. I can't wait to see those of you that join, and I want you to get the early bird. You will not regret doing this. And I know it's scary, but try it out and see, because it will make a huge difference in your life. And it's not, there's so many things, and this is the last thing that I will say, that we spend money on. We go to Costco, right? Or Sam's Club or Walmart or Target, and we spend this money mindlessly that perishes, right? It gets broken, or it gets old, or it gets wrecked, or whatever. The most important investment you can make is in yourself and your family. Bar none. We just know that. And it will last you for a lifetime, and you're changing generations. And so I want you to have that. I want you to experience the healing I've experienced, the community I've experienced, and it's an investment in you and your family, and it will save you money in the long run. And so I really encourage you to think about it. You'll be getting an email about it. If you have any questions, email me at Cheryl@momsoftweensandteens.com. Ask me questions. I want this for you, but I cannot care more than you care. But I know it is life changing, and it is an investment in yourself, and it will not perish. So think about what you spend money on every single month, where you can cut it in your budget, and make the space for this. And you can quit at any time. So you can join for a couple months, you can quit. Some moms, maybe I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to say it because I'm always transparent. I try to be anyway. Some moms join and then they have to quit and then they rejoin. And so you can do that too, So just know that. Okay. Alrighty, let's see here. I'll get over the questions. Melody, I hope you'll join. Kim, hope you'll join. Michelle, when I click on the monthly 69 link, it says 79. Oh, I don't know. Thank you, Michelle, for saying that. Okay, Jen, for some reason it's telling her 79 because it's early bird is 69. So, so Jen will go in, and I'm not quite sure about that. Fixed. Okay, Jen said it's fixed. So go back in. And I am so excited. Tell me when you sign up. Okay, Michelle, because then you know what? I get a one-on-one with you, and I love that. That's one of my very favorite things, is that I get to know you personally, and then you can ask questions, and I know what your struggles are. This is different. There's a lot of memberships that are excellent out there. So many good ones. There's apps out there. There's not a lot for raising tweens and teens. Not a lot. There's not an app that I know of that is specifically for moms of tweens and teens. And we're always building it. We're always adding to it. And you go at your own pace. You do what you can do. So it's not something that's overwhelming. It's an add-on. And you will get to know the other moms in the community. And we're very personal. It's not just where I'm over here, that's not how I operate. Jen's always like, you're doing too much. And I'm like, this is where my heart is. This is why I get up every morning. And so I just I just want to engage with you. I want to get to know you. I want to support you, because this support in my life has healed my life, because that 20 years ago, my daughter was struggling and suffering. I got into a group, and that's how this was born. So anyway, ask me questions. Yay, Callie! I'm so excited. Woo! I get a one-on-one with you. I cannot wait. You get all those bonuses. You're going to get all of the notes in book form. Do you know how much that is worth? It's worth a lot. So I would say, just the books we've written are worth a ton, not including our course, our boundaries course. And I'm going to shut up, but our boundaries course is $179, or maybe it's $199. You get it when you join the membership. What? Developing a healthy relationship. It's $199. We put it on discount sometimes. You get downloads. You get the anger iceberg download in there. Where I talk about it. There's just so much stuff. And then in the parenting success roadmap, you have scripts you get that you can use with your kids. So much, plus the community, plus the support, plus all the specialized stuff. It's like there's nothing like it. So try it. Yeah, the boundaries course is gold. Thank you, Lauren. Yeah, the courses, Megan, are fabulous. I've listened to several more than once. I love that. So, and then just on a side note, there are special groups you can join that are on the side. So there's also access. Like we had Dr. Noreen Russell come in, and she, it was a little extra money to pay for it, but she did a whole 6 or 8 weeks with parents that had kids that had ADHD. So there's always other opportunities for those that want that. So just know that. Okay, I'm going to get over to the questions now. I am so excited. Michelle's in. Woo! Okay, Michelle's in. I love it. Oh my gosh, so awesome. So Christy, I hope you will join. I hope, Stacy, I hope that you will join. Who else is on here? That, I want to join. Lori's a member that's on here. So Nat, I hope that you will join. I really, Marcella, Anita, so many people. So, and your husband can, even though it's for moms, he can you can let him listen to everything. He can add access to the app and listen if you want to include him. So I know a lot of you, would like that, and that's available through the app to you. Okay, let's get over to some questions. All right. Woo, I get all excited. Okay, Christy joined. Yay! Woo! What's my password? Okay, you have to reset it, Christy. So you go to it, it tells you create a password, you reset the password. I think Jen will answer your question. I'm so excited. Okay. So, Steph, I was on, but I froze. I didn't hear the word. I'm not sure. I'm sorry, Steph. I didn't look. I think you mean maybe the pumpkin. Okay. All right. What do you do when your partner spouse doesn't buy into all these strategies to manage the behaviors? It's like I make some progress and then spouse gets involved and undoes the little ground I've gained. Well, who feels like this? Who feels like this? I know I'm on. I love that 30 of you are still on. So I just want to say that I'm going to go through these and support you. All right. So I just want you to know that this is so such a common question that I get, and it's really tough. And if you join the membership, there's a whole course in there that's how to get your spouse, how to get your partner, I called it partner, on the same page, with lots of really great exercises in there. And so even if your partner, your spouse, is not doing this work right now, you can read through it and the exercises, because there's a lot I will say, and we work on this, but don't underestimate what you're doing in your own family and how that can influence your spouse for good. Know that you laying down boundaries or limits, even if your spouse is undermining you, is still speaking volumes to your kid. It is. Because your kids, even though they act like they don't want boundaries and limits, they know that they need them. So they will see it like mom is doing this. Of course, we have to figure out how to do it. And that's what we do in the membership, is we talk a lot about boundaries and limits. I have separate live workshops to work through it. So you could get support on this in the inner circle, and we would do a deeper dive into it. And there's a lot of moms that have been there. And like Sarah said, just by her doing this, she has seen her husband has grown. So we model it first. And when I first started doing what I'm doing and making these changes, my husband and I were not on the same page. But here's the thing, we often criticize our spouses. And what I was doing is I was criticizing him. I was telling him that he was doing it wrong. And that was not effective. That wasn't effective. So talk about yourself. And this again, you're not really going to, I'm just going to be honest, you're not going to be able to make the changes you want to make without the extra support. You won't. So if you want to make these changes, join. Try it, join for 3 months, work on this intensely for 3 months, and you will see some changes happen. But you won't do it on your own because it's too hard. It's too hard. But I forget what I was saying. But anyway, I was being critical. And my husband was pushing back on it. But when we talk about ourselves and we say, here's what I'm learning about myself. When we show up and we're vulnerable, here's what I'm realizing about my upbringing. Chances are you and your spouse are a lot more aligned than you realize. You're probably both scared and you're both
Honey,
reacting.
what time you working?
Hello, Sarah. That was Sarah.
Sorry.
That's okay. I love it. So just know that you doing this work is going to be the most powerful work you can do. So I'll stop there, but share it in a vulnerable way. I would share with my husband how I was feeling. In the getting on the same page, I go back in time. We usually do what we learned growing up. And so how we were parented impacts how we parent. If we can see our spouse through that lens, it's going to help us be less reactive to them. And the chances of us becoming more aligned is going to increase. Usually one's up here and trying to manage. If the other one's overreacted, the other one's going to be trying to be more passive and permissive to make up for the parent that's more domineering and all of that, and authoritative or authoritarian rather. And so what you want to do is you want to become more aligned and meet in the middle. So join, you'll learn all about it. Are there localized groups where the group could meet in person occasionally? What we used to do that a lot. And my desire would be to have that come back. Here's the thing, you'll meet moms that are in your area that are in their inner circle. And if you want to meet for coffee and get together, if you want to set up a call with somebody, that is what the moms have ended up doing. They've made friends in the group and then they say, can we have a call? And they've become, like Sarah said, really close friends. So you'll meet other moms in there. And this is a mom that just joined. You'll meet other like-minded moms in there that you'll just bond to. And you can say, I would love to connect outside of group. And we did have that event in Chicago last year where we all got together in person, those that could come. But if you want to meet with somebody in person, you can find out who's in your area. You can invite a friend to join. We have a referral program. So if you think of a friend you want to join because you're in the inner circle now, you can invite them to join and you get 50% of their first month. You make 50%. That's what we do for those of you that are members. So think about that. Okay. How do you help your teen to be more social and create lasting friendships? You can't. So, I mean, you can't make them, is my quick answer. And I just want to say, I hope you will join because I would coach you around, we talk about a place from our own anxiety. We talk about, okay, what does this mean to your kid is not social? What does that look like? What's happening? What does that mean? Are they isolated and they're depressed? That would take us down one path. Are they, they're not making those connections. So what do you do about that? You cannot make them though, but you can influence them. So I hope that you're one of the ones that's going to sign up because You will learn what you can do. Okay, well, and then somebody else said when I click on the early bird 69, it opens. So they got the right link because you joined. You're the person who got in accidentally at the higher price, so it's not set up yet for you. I'm going to send you the corrected link. Okay, she said that to Christy. Okay, all right, so Christy gave it to her. So takeaways to those that I view that are still on here. Anybody want to share? And thank you so much for staying on. I love it. And so I hope you will join. You will get an email, 14 day money back guarantee. You got all your money back. So you can try it and you can see what it's like. I encourage you to do just that. You don't like it, you can, and even to get the bonuses. But see, here's the thing. When moms join, they usually stay because they just are like, wow. And I think it's scary. When I click on community, I get this, you don't have permission to access that page. Don't worry, Michelle, you will get invited. Jen, after we hang up with this call, she will invite you. Okay, so just know that. And any questions you can email us. All right. Jen is like the power of, she's like, what do you call them? Oz, where she's back there working all the controls for all of you. All righty. Little glitch, working it out. Yep. Little glitch, no problem. Just know you will get it and we will work it all out. So thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. Thank you for showing up. I would love to hear from you. Email me, share your wins. If you're part of that Facebook community, it's going to stay open until next week. Share your wins in there. Share your questions in there. Send me any questions you have about the inner circle. If you're like on the fence, realize that, this is an investment in you. An investment that is priceless, that is invaluable, that will not perish. So just know that, okay? My takeaway from today, Lauren, I've maintained too much control. I need to connect with the smaller circles. I love that. So Lauren, good. Lauren's in our inner circle. So I love that you're going to do that. You're welcome, Kelly. I cannot wait to meet you. Also went from the nagging, anxious mom of ADHD boy getting to bed on time and to school, had a big chat, and now we're going with, if he is late, I can call and say, I don't approve of it. That, Christy, you are already ahead of the game. We talk a lot about how can we do that. It will get him in trouble with truancy, natural consequences that he appreciates. Well, you know what? You're batting the ball back to him and he has a choice, right? And natural consequences are the most powerful consequences. You are so welcome, Lauren. So thank you everybody for coming, and I deeply care about you and I want to know you. I want you to have that support. So think about it, reach out to me, and you will get, when you join, you're going to get that book of all of my notes that I've turned into a book for you, which is going to be really helpful. Anita, having grace for my tween as they navigate these new developments. Yep. They definitely need grace, and so do we. So Anita, I hope that you will join and that I will get to know you. And thank you everybody for coming, and have a beautiful, beautiful day. Okay, bye.